Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Bhakti, devotion. Swami, when you see a house or building, we guess that there must be someone who got it constructed. We get to know that so and so engineer constructed it. When we see a vehicle, we surmise that it must have been manufactured by some automobile company. You see a piece of furniture and know that there must be a carpenter responsible. A house or a vehicle or furniture contains many things mutually complementary and compatible, but together for a purpose. A house or a car or a plane did not come into being at random by some accident. You know that some intelligence has been at work with a purpose, putting things together in a logical sequence for a function with some discipline. Looking at anything, we know that there is a maker. So, so also looking at this world and solar system, Milky Way, galaxies, and the universe, we know that there has to be someone or something responsible for this creation. This universe is made up of enormous number of things tied up in multivarious ways with multidimensional disciplines with a profusion of purposes interconnected and interdependent. You have to be blind and dense not to see that the whole thing is immaculate in its orderliness and procedures with inbuilt feedbacks and quality controls. We can easily draw the conclusion that there has to be a super capability not bounded by the confines of time because it has been, is, and will be effective in the past, present, and future, respectively, not bounded by the vastness of space because it is effectively uniform here, there, and everywhere. We are sitting in this big hall covered by a pandal. We can know as to who built it up, who made this plantain tree. We do not see someone who can take the credit, but someone has to be there. See how beautifully, layer by layer, the trunk has been put together with what instrument? Look at that mountain, the sky, the stars, and the moon. We cannot point out the person who had made them. If you say that it is not possible to point out the maker because they have been there for millions of years, then who made this rose flower? It is of a very recent origin. Yesterday it was a bird. Today it's a beautiful flower with a number of petals. In each petal, there are so many delicate vessels, such color, such fragrance, such abundance. It bloomed in front of our eyes. We do not know that power which made this flower bloom. We are thinking that man is all knowing and all powerful, but we are in the same condition of perplexity and bewilderment about the universe as would be the condition of a wild animal if it was suddenly whisked out of its natural habitat and taken around a modern city like Delhi or New York. Someone far superior, capable, and sophisticated is keeping man in that condition of perplexity and bewilderment. There is uniformity in the way roses come into being, grow, and bloom, in the way mountains behave. All the stars and heavenly bodies are tied up by one dharma. All the systems are only subsystems of one major system. There is a clear cause and effect relationship between all the subparts of this complete prapancham. There is one power, one engineer, one manager, one arivu behind all this. Man who thinks of himself as great should get to know this one great man because he is not only great but also very, very good. He is not only the creator but also the sustainer, protector, and caterer. All our greatness is His grace. When we pray to Him with His clarity that all that we have is His only, we will benefit immensely. He is Swami. Our capabilities, intelligence, might, power, beauty, and so on are indicators of His. The thief leaves footprints. This thief has left footprints all over the world in every iota of existence. This Ullam Kavar Kalvan is the basis of all existence. We are the indicators of His being the creator. Can we create the lines as obtaining in each individual's hands? We can only copy or try to copy. We can only replicate or try to replicate. There is not one man like another man. There is not one sand particle like another sand particle. The most common property in every part of existence is uniqueness. All the greatness of man cannot match that greatness of his, which could create the artful excellence of the structure of even a small leaf or the crystal structure of a speck of snow. Like a thief, he is also hidden, but to the discerning eye, his signature is everywhere. The Vedas keeps repeating that he is hidden in the cave. Our heart is that cave. Hiding in our own hearts, he makes us search for him, playing the game of Kannamuchi or hide and seek. To search for him is bhakti. Devotion is game he makes us play. What is the meaning of Swami? What is the meaning of the word Swami? It is from the root word swam. It means ownership or asset. Swam in Telugu has become Sommu and Sottu in Tamil. Swandam has become Sondam in Tamil, meaning both ownership and relationship. The landed properties of any temple in Kerala is called so and so Devaswam. So the owner of the property of Swam or Swam is Swami. The direct Tamil word for the owner or Swami is Udayar. In olden times, in the stone carvings in temples, the presiding deity of that temple is referred to as Tiruvenkata Mudayyar, Tirunageshwara Mudayyar, and Kapalishwara Mudayyar. Guru and God are considered as synonyms. That is why Sri Vaishnavas call their Guru as Udayavar. I said that Swami is the owner, but Swami is the owner of what property? The entire universe is his property, of which the owner is God. Whatever is there is his. Taimanuvar sang, Ellam un udaimaye, meaning everything is your property. We who claim ownership for this and that property and have disputes galore are ourselves his property. Without him, no land, no world, no people, nothing can exist. We claim ownership of some lands or buildings or vehicles. Scientists keep on creating ever new materials, machines, appliances, and equipments, but all the raw materials for all of them are all God's making only. We take His materials and change only the Nama and Rupa, that is name and shape. None of us can create an element or atom. The scientists and manufacturers and producers who make aeroplanes, missiles, rockets, and bombs are all incapable of making a small leaf even. All the things in the universe are all His. He is the Udayavar. He is the Swami. We are also His only. What we consider as ours, we have the freedom to use or distribute. Similarly, if we recognize the fact that we are His and leave ourselves in His hands to dispose of the way He wants, it can only result in complete bliss. No more weight, no more responsibility. Now we are using the words I, me, myself, and mine so extensively that we are constantly at cross purposes with everybody else. Once we come to understand that it is all His, will we have any more reason for desire and hate? We will also come to realize that we have no right to any claim, no more tension. All peace will result. Just uttering that one word Swami and understanding that word's import can relieve us of all unwanted, undesirable tendencies and inclinations because it is all His, including ourselves. To know this, thus, is the aim of bhakti or devotion. This is the principle of Sharanagati or surrendering to God once all, including oneself, since it is all already His. Idea of God as indicated by nature. A variety of powers are spread throughout the creation. When we look at nature, we come across something with some power and something else with some more of that power. The observation goes on endlessly. We have some physical capabilities. We can lift some weight. The bull or buffalo can carry more weight. Camel can do even better. Elephant can carry even more weight than the camel. We can make comparisons of various living things based on their capabilities, such as running speed, or jumping, or smelling, or hearing. Some insects can carry more weight, jump farther and higher than all the animals of the world as related to their own body weight and size. Let us look at brain power. The worm has more sense than plants. Ant is more intelligent than the worm. Compared to an animal like a horse or cow or goat, the ant may prove to be a dullard. Man excels in this. We can deduce from this that there must some basis for all such powers and capabilities. There has to be some source or foundation for all powers. We name that basis and source as Swami or God. Using its brain and power and capabilities, a sparrow makes a nest. There has to be some power and capability that could organize this universe, that is Swami or God. From the nature's innumerable examples of successively increasing capabilities, we thus deduce this likelihood of the idea of God. We also notice another phenomenon in nature. There is the occurrence of pairs of opposites or what is called dichotomy. For every day there is a night. There is severe summer for every severe winter. Soft flowers have sharp thorns. Sweet taste has its opposite. Against love there is hate. For positive there is negative. For North Pole there is South Pole. For anything and everything there is a corresponding counterpart or opposite. For every particle there is a counterparticle or non-particle. Thinking on these lines, you have to agree that there has to be a counterpoint for the human mind. What is the nature of the human mind? To merge in likes and dislikes, to get tied up in various binds and keep on trying to get free from such ties is the nature of the mind. Contrary to this, without any likes and dislikes, with total clarity and impartiality, fully satisfied and contented, there has to be a counterpoint for the human mind. That is Swami or God. In nature, everything is constantly and continuously changing. Only some of that change is visible to our eyes. What looks like unchanging constant is also undergoing some changes. Birth today is flower tomorrow, and nirmalyam the next day. Childhood to youth, to middle age to old age is the route by which all of us go through. Even the seemingly unchanging ocean and mountain are undergoing changes. Nothing is permanent in nature. The only constancy seems to be change. This should mean that there has to be something unchanging. That is Swami or God. Thus, nature is pointing out the existence of the idea of God by way of the principle of progressive refinement and improvement, and the principle of counterpoint, and the principle of permanency in change. Let it be. Why bother with such abstract ideas? Why should we have devotion to God? Is God amenable to suggestions and flattery? These can be your queries. How are we faring in this comparison? We have many wants, needs, and desires with limited capabilities. Without a need or want, that God is all knowing, all powerful, and all capable. We are the bottom and He is the peak, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. He is also the repository of grace and compassion. We are less and He is full. He is the necessary counterbalance for all our deficiencies. Less means that something is needed to make it complete. When there is no need, we can be totally contented. That Swami, who is God, while removing our deficiencies, can make us wholesome too. Those commanding heights of the idea of God in filling up our deficiencies and inadequacies can and will make this us into that without any separateness. Duty and devotion. When Shankara Bhagavad Padal was about to leave this mortal coil, his disciples surrounded him. They said, you gave a lot of advices to us about various things connected to Vedas and teachings related to our religion. There are many things in them beyond our grasp and understanding. Please tell us something easy for us to understand. He gave them a shloka of 5 stanzas called Sapna Panchakam or Upadesha Panchakam. In it, he advised his disciples as given hereinafter. Follow the path as defined by the Vedas. Daily do the duties as delineated therein without let. Think this very action as an offering to God. Instead of going by only what is seemingly pleasing to your mind and heart, do all the duties as your contribution for the welfare of the public and common man. This is the idea with which Sopana Panchakam commences. There are some people still living in this world who do their allotted duties as required by the Vedas. There are some who are doing puja with fervor. Some others can conduct a festival with organizational zeal. There could be some who could conduct a gathering with devotional songs. Those who conduct puja or bhajan or festivals look down on those who are strictly adhering to karma anushtana and say, what is the use of doing only karma? If your heart is not melted to tears by devotion, what is the use? Those who are following the karma path look at the other experts in conduct of festivals and devotional activities and say they have no devotion to their duties. What is the use of all this pomp and show? Acharya in Sopana Panchakam tells us to do one's duties itself as an offering to God. Duties as per karma anushtana are not to be forgotten, neither is one to forget God. Do Sandhya Vandanam, Brahma Yagyam, Jyotish Homam, Tarpanam if you were a Brahmin. Do train yourself in battlecrafts and fight your battles at the time of war if you were a Kshatriya. Do your trading and business if you were a Vaishya. And do your duties of agriculture or carpentry or pottery and so on if you were the Sudra. But whether you were a Brahmin or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Sudra, do your allotted duties with your mind riveted to God. That is the advice. But there is an exalted stage not easily achieved. When we are involved in any work, attention to divinity will be or could be forgotten. So, karma and bhakti both are required. Over a period, both may fruition into oneness. That is, someone may totally involve in karma with his mind reverted on God, or someone else may so get involved in bhakti that he may forget all other duties. He or she reaches a stage of krita kritya, that is, one who has no more duties to perform. Let it be set aside. If we look at the initial stages, will God be pleased with someone who does duties or display much devotion? Say there is a rich man employing many servants. Amongst the servants, there is one who simply does his duties and another who is all the time praising that rich man. Unless the rich man is an idiot, he is not likely to ignore the fact that the second is failing in his duties. You cannot think of God as susceptible to praise and flattery, but the one simply doing his duty will also not last long either. This world is God's creation. God is the king and we are all his citizens. So all the people are my kinsmen. He is not only the king but the father and mother. So we are all his children. So we are all brothers and sisters. To keep everyone happy, Veda Dharma has allotted roles for each. We shall do our duties without being crassly selfish. God's family should flourish. God's will be done. In this, I shall do my bit as my contribution. This should be our attitude. In our doing the action, devotion will be inbuilt. Then we will be fully eligible to receive God's grace. The path of devotion and the path of action are not divergent but convergent in God. Form and formless. The fragrance of a flower will not be perceptible to the eyes, only nose can recognize that. The sweetness of sugar candy will not be cognizable to the nose, only the tongue can sense it. Music will not be understood by the tongue, we need the ear for that. Heat, cold, and touch will not be noticed by the ear but only by the skin. None of the above senses will be discernible to the eyes. Its perception is limited to form and colors. What is clear to one of the sense organs is totally unclear to the other sense organs. Our senses through one of the organs is senseless for the other organs. Our discernment, perception, cognition, and understanding is thus limited, the data being gathered only by one of the sense organs, which is senseless to other sense organs but acceptable to us. For example, music discernible only by the ears, not seen, not tasted, not touched, and not smelled, is still accepted and not denied. Let us see if there could be something not discernible to any of the senses, but whose existence is acceptable to us. The entire universe is permeated by electrical waves, insist the scientists, though we cannot experience this through any of our sense organs except when you come in contact with a live wire. We do accept that these electrical impulses are permeating the entire universe, including our own bodies. nerves, and brain. When demonstrated through some experiments, there is a superior power which could organize all the senses and their capabilities and create so many life forms in so many numbers, in so many varieties. We call it God. Like electricity, it is permeating the inside and outside of everything, including each one of us. Under its control, the ear can hear, the eye can see, the skin can feel the touch, the tongue can taste, and the nose can smell. Since they function under the control of an intelligent power, they cannot and do not interfere in each other's appointed role. The senses are under the control of that superior power, so that superior power does not come under even the comprehension of those senses. That is why none of the senses can be of any use in trying to understand what is God. From this, some people draw the wrong deduction that there is no God. God is not only omniscient but also the very form of compassion and grace. That is why that formless is also amenable to present itself in form to the utter satisfaction of all our senses, not to prove its existence to the disbelievers but to the entire joy and bliss of the believing bhaktas. For their sake, he can and does adopt many forms. As electricity, from being formless, takes the visible form of light in a bulb, when the bhakta brings the God into the bulb of their hearts through the wire of devotion into the filament of one pointed concentration, and with his attention as the switch, the formless God assumes form for the devotee's sake and give him the vision of the resplendent self. The sea water becomes formless by the heat of the sun rays, that when cooled becomes visible as clouds. When it cools more, it rains as water. When it cools more, it becomes solid ice crystals. As our hearts cools sans agitation in total devotion, the formless becomes discernible to every one of the senses. Searching for God day and night, forgetting all other desires, the formless God can be tasted, spoken to, heard, smelt, felt, and touched. Salokam, Samipyam, Sarupam, and Sayujyam are the last four stages, meaning that the bhakta goes through the last four stages of being in the God's land, go very near God, take the very form of God, become one with God respectively. People have questions always. What is the use of a man becoming a jnani or aware? Like this, just a look of such a person can bestow the bliss of peace on the audience. What in the world can match that bliss? That is the greatest value of anyone become a jnani. KTSV adds, you should have been in the presence of a Ramana or Ramakrishna Paramahansa or Sai Baba or part of the audience when Perival was giving his lecture to fully comprehend this statement about the value of a jnani. Even now, nothing is lost since you are reading this. God, Jnani or a man of self awareness, does not see anything other than the self or Atma or God. He knows and is aware that it is the one being that is seen as many, one self appearing as so many of us, living and non living, sentient and insentient. He discards the outer appearances as Maya and sees only the inner being and is in bliss for that reason. Since the apparent world is Maya, he has nothing to do with the world. For him, the seer, seen, and the act of seeing is all one, so has no job for work no job or work or duty. The Upanishads say that he is himself Brahman. Brahman has no work to perform. But those who are deluded by the Maya think of the world as real and pray to Ishvara for success in their endeavors. When the prayer is made with a good mind for good jobs, Ishvara gets them done. This means that Ishvara is not one without job. Even if we do not pray to him, Ishvara conducts the affairs of the universe in an orderly manner and feeds all the life forms. So should we say that the actionless Brahman is different from actionful Ishvara? No. Jnani's Brahman is the same as Agyani's Ishvara, who manages the entire universe. Shiva's Dakshinamurti form indicates the Brahma stage. There is no work there, only silence. The same Shiva has done all the works. He is dancing the cosmic dance in Chidambaram. Chidambaram is not only a place in Tamil Nadu, but also the Chid Ambaram, that is, the minds of all the people. He comes as the beautiful Bhikshadana to Taruka, Vana, and enormous all the wives of the rishis. In Daksha Yajna, he knocks out Surya with an uppercut to the jaws and breaks all his teeth. He drinks the Alahala poison in the battle of Devas and Asuras and becomes Nilakant by stopping the poison in the throat. Swami ever remains hidden as Brahma and does all the work as Ishvara. Common folks are swimming in the ocean of life. On the other side, Jnanis are standing in the fields. In between the Jnanis and the common folks is the high mound of the divide or the ocean. Jnanis do not see the world. Swami is also known as the Tatstha, the via media. He knows the world, people in the world, and the Jnanis. He can tell the Jnanis to lift the swimming mass from the morass of worldly involvement and bring them ashore. Though Swami knows all to be oneself, he plays around with the people who think of themselves as different from him. There is a beautiful poem by Sri Nilakanta Dikshidhar known as Sivalilar Nava. Let me give you its meaning. You will know that Lord Parmeshwara came as a casual laborer and carried mud like a laborer, working for daily wages. Here, the day's wages was pittu, a sweet meat. When the Vaigai river was in spate and the river banks were broken, he purposefully malingered, and the Pandya king, supervising the work, punished this laborer by beating with the cane, resulting in all the living forms feeling the pain and having marks on their backs. By this God had revealed his all-pervasiveness. The poet says, "It is all right that you revealed your all-pervasiveness, but tell me, is that only applicable for getting beaten up? You ate up the sweet pittu. Why did not all the life forms get an opportunity to partake in that pleasure? What happens to the principles of oneness when there are two different interpretations and applications? One when you are happily enjoying the pittu, and another for sharing your pains of being caned. Swami is the inner static being. He is the outer dynamic force. He is said to have 5 duties known as Panchakrityam or 5-fold jobs. You all know the 3, namely creation, maintenance, and destruction. All these 3 are of the Maya or the apparent condition only. The 4th one is called as Tirodhanam or hiding, that is, hiding the fact of reality, hiding Maya from being known as unreal. The 5th one is the process of relieving us from the unreal Maya, that is Anugraham, meaning compassionate blessings for realization. Without this anugraham, we can never be relieved of the delusion of Maya. To pray for this compassion, believing Him to be kind-hearted and to love Him with a melting heart is devotion or bhakti. Om Shri Mahaperiva Sharanam.